Sup, folks? Sup, everybody? Good to see you. Sup, Dano on YouTube? Good to see you, man. Fluoropolis, one allergen. Now we won't know if someone is pretending to be someone asking personal questions about someone else. It's true. It's true. It's so true. Stoic Zero on X. What's up? Good to see you. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. I have no idea why any of you would want to be here, but I think I'm good. I think I've got everything I need. We're gonna do some code. We're actually gonna code today. I've set aside a little bit of time. We're gonna focus on some code. We're gonna work on the game. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Let me pull up the game. I will explain. Crap, what did I do? Okay, no, I'm good. I'm good, folks. I know you can't see it because I haven't switched the camera. None of you can see it, which is perfect because it means you don't see the mistake I just made. We're going to be working on this puppy. I'm going to explain to you in a second what this is and what the code is and what we're doing. One sec. All right. What the hell is this and what are we doing? So if you are a regular viewer of my daily tech news, you know that I talk about the state of the tech industry as a whole, how stupid it is. Influencers have become dumb. Managers and executives have made dumb decisions. Programmers are neutered. Maybe some of them are dumb, but a lot of them are smarter than we give them credit for. And instead of just going over the news every day and talking about how dumb these things are and proving it with scientific data and all that, I am putting in a manner of speaking, I suppose, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And I'm building a video game using some of the most ridiculous restrictions one could possibly dream of self-imposing for the exact purpose of demonstrating that someone like myself, a high school dropout, can build a video game on the browser in the way that I have imposed the game to be. What are these impositions? Well, I have a single header C file. It's one file. It's one header file. It contains all of the C code for the entire game state. The game state is just numbers in, numbers out. I compile this to WebAssembly, and then I embed that WebAssembly in HTML. This is a single HTML file. I literally convert the WebAssembly file to an array of U8s or to a base64 encoded file, and I literally inject it into an HTML file. Then I read that WebAssembly code, and I run the entire game using vanilla JavaScript, vanilla HTML, and vanilla CSS. So it's literally just plain old HTML. The game itself is rendered on div elements. It is not rendered on Canvas. It's not rendered on WebGL, WebGPU. There's no hardware acceleration. I have a flag that turns off the hardware acceleration on the browser here. So everything is single-threaded, CPU-based, with nothing but a CSS grid. Let me just see if I can pop this up. There you go. Here we go. CSS grid. That's it. That's all I do. The DOM is not as slow as you have been told it is. That is the document object model as part of the HTML structure of web browsers. Vanilla JavaScript is not as stupid as you think it is if you're extremely, and I mean extremely careful how you use it. And CSS is not as difficult as you think it is if you just use your damn brain. Just use your brain and apply some discipline. And it's incredible how far you can take a very plain set of technologies that most people would not use this day. To this day, most people will look at you weird and go, why would you do it this way? And I'm doing it this way. And it's working. And we've got an entire game running on the browser. And the coup de grace. Let me just do a refresh and make sure. We have a 3D mode. Right now, this game is in 2D mode, but we do have a 3D mode. And the 3D mode is in pure CSS. CSS 3D runs this 3D mode. That's right. That's right. This is all CSS, pure CSS. I thought I had a mouse scrolling thing. I guess I fixed the camera so that there's only one way you can view the camera. But this is all CSS 3D. Look at that. Let me go and do CSS 3D, and then I'll go and I think it's this guy. Yeah, set sail. The 3D doesn't work in sail mode, but that's it. That's what we're doing. This is based on an old video game that I have fond memories of from the Super Nintendo days. And yeah, so it's been a while since I've worked on this thing. What are we doing? In this case, we are working on victory conditions. Last time on episode 12, I was working on victory conditions. The victory conditions are kind of the last big holdout of the game before I implement multiplayer. And one of the things that multiplayer will include is a system called Datastar. And I might even Frankenstein Datastar. If you don't know what Datastar is, go look it up. I'm gonna at least give it a shot. I might also give one or two other things a shot for multiplayer. In any case, the point is, for the next little while, you guys get to watch this high school dropout, previously homeless programmer, completely self-taught, build a video game on the browser in the most insane way possible just to prove that it can be done. So, victory conditions. What we have is a battle system. So you can see here, there's one ship, and then there's two ships. Okay, so here's one ship, and here's the second ship, right? And what I typically need to do... Did this work properly? No, it didn't. If I move... Oh, I remember now. I have to go and board the ship. So let me do that real quick. So if I go and board the ship here, so right now my ship is next to the enemy ship, which I should really have a different indicator for. But I'm going to go board. It's going to be a man-to-man attack. And what I've done is I've given myself a kind of a buff. If I do this, you can see that it went down to 0. The crew went down to 0, which means I took out the entire crew. But the ship stays intact because the hull hasn't been damaged. As a result, when I go and end my turn, I have this victory. I don't know what you want to call this. It's a victory condition page. And this is what we've been working on. Anytime that you defeat an enemy fleet, you're going to get a particular number of gold. If you have captains that are not assigned to a ship, then you can assign them to ships that you take from the enemy fleet. You just have to have a captain available and not assigned. And then we have to do cargo transfers. So whether you take other ships or not from the enemy fleet, you can at the very least take their cargo. So you could take their water, lumber, gunpowder, food, all that stuff. You can take it for yourself as part of the victory of the battle. The issue that we're going to try and get through is that a lot of this stuff requires a bunch of functions in the C code to make it happen. And we're going to have to write some functions, map them onto the JavaScript code, because through WebAssembly, we have to map it onto JavaScript. By the way, I'm now using Emscripten. I'm not using any other JavaScript glue. There's zero glue. There's zero third-party libraries. The only third-party library I have is in the C code, which is just the standard lib somewhere in here. For particular, I have a bool, an arg definitions, and int, and even that stuff is mostly for manipulating numbers and strings. That's about it. And strings I'm going to do away with in production mode. In any case, so in order to get through this, we have to look at a few things. Once we have won a battle, we need to show enemy ships that still have a hull greater than 0. I believe that we're already doing that. That's one of the last things that we were working on the last episode. Let's go back to the ocean battle. Enemy ships that still... Yeah, total capturable ships. Perfect. Okay, so we have some function here. Get fleet total ships hull greater than 0, enemy fleet ID. Perfect. This function exists in the C file. Here we go. We pass in a fleet ID, which is the enemy fleet of the battle. We go over all of the ships in that fleet. We grab a pointer to the storage data of said ship. We check its durability for greater than 0. We increment a total ships variable, or we return that variable as the total number of ships that have a hull greater than 0. If the total number of ships with a hull greater than 0 on the enemy fleet is more than 1, okay, then what we need to do is list the ships and provide an option for the player to import the ship into their fleet and assign a captain to it. I have 2 available captains. The reason why I have 2 available captains is that in my setup of the code, I think it's here, right? Yeah, here we go. I have Randy W and Ross W. These 2 NPCs are captains as part of my fleet. So I have 2 captains that are running around in my fleet that haven't been assigned to a ship, which means that I should be able to take one of those captains and assign them to one of the ships, well, in this case, the only ship that has a hull greater than 0 as part of winning this battle. The question then becomes, how am I going to get the ship information? So in order to get the ship information that I need out of this, I would have to get there's 2 ways I can do it the way I see it. One is I could create a function that essentially goes through the enemy fleet ships, much like this one. And you would pass in, so it'd be kind of like this. Let's pseudocode it out. Get fleet ship hull greater than 0. And then we'd set an offset. It would be an index. The index points to some kind of index inside this loop. So it'd be something like I equals index somewhere in here, right? Another way to do it would be to get all the ships and return their storage IDs. What's up, Slobber Donkey on YouTube? Good to see you, man. I could get all the ships of an enemy fleet if I have a fleet struct in my JavaScript code. Do I have such a thing? Get storage fleet. I don't think I do. Structs, classes, no JS structs, no, wouldn't be here. All right, so I know I have a player fleet. Maybe I can kind of Frankenstein the player fleet. Player.fleet. That's the game data fleet. That's what it is. New game data fleet. Yeah, okay, now we're talking. This is what we want. All right. Okay, so I thought ahead on the code. I have a JavaScript struct that maps this guy, game data fleet. It maps to the WebAssembly memory that's compiled as part of the C code. All I have to do is create a new fleet, pass in the enemy fleet ID, which I believe I should have in my Ocean Battle JavaScript code. And there we go, enemy fleet ID. And so then what I could do is go var enemy fleet. Let me think. Just null it. We're just going to null it. And then we'll go enemy fleet is equal to new game data fleet. And I think we want to pass in wasm.exports, which is so we want to pass in the WebAssembly memory. And then we want to pass in the actual fleet ID inside of an array. Hopefully this works. So we'll go back over here. Okay, let's get right up in its business if we can. Of course it's gonna move away. Come on. Get right up in there. And then we'll go like this. 0, perfect. Okay. So yeah, nice. So we have game data fleet right here. This is good. It means that we have the fleet of the enemy, like the enemy fleet inside of our JavaScript memory. And yep, there's a ship ID, which references a storage ID inside of WebAssembly memory for the enemy fleet ID. So now that we have that, then we should be able to do something like for var s equals 0, s is equal to enemy fleet dot ship IDs dot length plus s ship ID enemy fleet ship ID is s, and then we'll go game data ship, and it'll be ship ID. And if this works, this should work as well. So we can test it right now without having to go through it all over again. So we'll go new game data ship, some exports. The ship ID is 7. So we should do this. And there's our ship. And we will know that this is true because if I check the durability, it should be more than 0. Perfect. If I check the crew, it should be 0. Perfect. This is the correct ship. So we now know that we can now reference the we can now reference the correct ship here. So that's good. So what it means is that all my compilation stuff, no, not here. This stuff, it's just a shell file that I run inside of Linux, of Ubuntu in this case. And I use Clang, and I compile my WebAssembly, my C code into WebAssembly. It's just literally just a WebAssembly file. There's no glue. There's no third-party glue. And I have another set of C code. This is called the struct extractor. And I will go look at... I'll go literally use this C code to read into my single file header library for all my game stuff. And I'll go figure out what structs I have. Let me just go up to the top here. So like this, no, hang on. Yeah, like this struct, like the data fleet captain. It will auto-generate for me a struct.js file. This is all pure vanilla C code with vanilla JavaScript. And so game data captain comes from this struct. And it offsets and maps the WebAssembly memory with the functions that I need to access all the different attributes inside of the C struct, but mapped directly via memory calls in JavaScript, which means that anytime that I make an update to this struct, well, let me go, it should be data captain, I believe. Yeah, here. So if I go and make a change in here, let's go U32 sum ID, and then I go and compile it. Okay, and then I go back here, and it'd be somewhere in here we should see sum ID. Here we go. Sum ID. So it automatically does all of this stuff for me, which means that I don't have to have any glue at all. It's just auto-generated with some vanilla C, and I can adjust my structs and enums and all of that stuff inside of C, and automatically, so now I should not see some ID in my JavaScript struct. And there we go, it's gone, because the captain no longer has that attribute as part of its struct. So I have all the stuff that's already made for me. I have an enumeration extractor. If I go enum extractor C, it does the same thing. It's just C, very simple C code. We're talking about 131 lines of C code that just looks into the enum here. So if I go, come on, let's say this is one big enum, and this gives me a global set of numerical values that I can reference internal C WebAssembly values with, and it just extracts all of that into an enum array in JavaScript. Game strings. You can see all of that there. And so now I have a way to reference not only data structures in JavaScript, but also enumeration values, which I can convert to integers back and forth. And anytime I make a change in C to adapt to make the video game state more malleable for my purposes, the JavaScript code automatically gets updated as part of my compilation step here. It's all extracted, updated, all of it's compiled properly and everything, and then I have access to it. And so with that means that all of that is still working because we just proved it by pulling in the structs here, or the classes, which are just structs inside of C, and the enumeration values that go along with this. I'm realizing that I have to put this in an array. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so given this then, what we should also be able to do is go have a look at the game fleet. Let's do this. Var enemy fleet dot ships is not a thing. Okay, perfect. So here's what I'm going to do. Once we have won the battle, we're going to generate a struct. Well, we're going to generate a class, which is a C struct. What's up, Frozen? Good to see you. What's up, Affleck? Good to see you on the YouTube side. What's up, NWN is working. Good to see you. Noun is working, or whatever that is. I'm not really sure what your name is supposed to be, but there you go. First thing I see is a load of blue. You got it. That's right. It's a load of blue all up in your face. Could be worse. There could be something else all up in your face. All right. So now that we have an enemy fleet as a JavaScript struct, which is really just a JavaScript class mapped over a C struct, we're going to do this. We're going to go enemy fleet.ships as an array. Enemy fleet.ships.push ship. That means anytime that we go through the ships in the enemy fleet, we're going to put it into a proper class so that we can reference it. And then this will give us the ability to reference all the ships that we need. The reason why we do this is because once we've got this enemy, well, this is actually a ship, but in any case, I named this incorrectly. We'll look at the data struct here. We'll go in here. We can look at capacity. We can look at cargo. We can look at crew, figurehead. We can look at some of the stats, like what kind of wood is it made out of. We can look at the speed and tacking, all that stuff. Given this, we should now be able to do a list right here, total free captains HTML. Total capturable ships. I should now be able to go over all the ships. We could do something like, let's do something stupid. What would be the quickest? Okay, I've got it. So we'll go for var s equals 0, s is less than enemy fleet dot ships dot length plus s. Okay, and then we'll go total free. This is kind of dumb, but okay, interpolated string, total free captain. Then we'll go like this. Then we'll go like enemy fleet ships s dot id, which should give us an ID. We're gonna just do like durability. We'll just spit out all the ships for now, but whatever, it's fine. We can check for durability greater than 0 and filter that out up here. So we could do that actually. We could just go like enemy fleet ships s dot durability greater than 0. Just continue, skip over it. So it's an early continue. But right for now, I'll just leave this out. So this is fine. What else could we show here? We could show, nope, not this. We could show, I don't know. Oops. We could show crew. We could show name ID. Yeah, why don't we do that? Okay, so we'll go crew. Name ID 178. I believe it's just game strings 178. Yeah, perfect. So we'll go game strings. This is really not good, but actually I know. Enemy fleet get name. Perfect. I even have the. I thought I had. So all my JavaScript classes, which are mapped over to structs, have a function called getName if there is a name ID inside of the class. And what they'll do is they will go over to GameStrings, which is the enumeration extractor, and they'll literally pull this up, right? And then they're going to go and look strings base ship. No, hang on. Base ship balsa. And they will do this lookup. They will literally do this two-tiered lookup, because what this means is that my enumeration extractor has the ability to extract all the numerical values for the game that I want, but then there's an array of strings that I get to control on the client side to map those numerical string values to strings that I want in the game, which means that I can localize the game without touching any of the C code or any of the JavaScript code. All I have to do is create another strings. Where is it? This. I just have to create another one of these. It's just JSON data. And I can create a localized version of this and do different languages using this. So this is perfect. So at this point, why don't we check and make sure. I'm going to compile this one more time. Let's make sure I haven't broken anything. All right, let's go into the battle. We're going to go, nope. We're going to try and get all up in there. It's going to move farther away from me, which is going to make this annoying. Go like that. Okay. Oh, man, come on. Come on. Uh-huh. Okay, good. It's done. Nice. Okay, now. We made a boo-boo here. We have made a boo-boo. And the boo-boo here is, I really don't know. What is the boo-boo? Why are we seeing so many ships? We should only be seeing one ship. Enemy fleet ships, ship ID, enemy fleet, game data fleet, fleet ID, ocean battle turn order fleets. Okay, let's, that's 0. That's 6. Enemy fleet. 6. Okay, and what are the ship IDs in here? We've done something wrong. Oh, I see. Right, because these, okay. I see. We're not checking for the sentinel value. This means that it's actually null or 0, and we've maxed it out. We've maxed it out to the U32. I get it. So if enemy fleet ship IDs not equal, or no, equal to is it get sentry? It's get sentry, isn't it? Is sentry function. Okay. That's what it is. I have a function to check this. Is sentry. Then we continue. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's what I needed to do. Let's figure this out. Zoom out. I'll do this again. I should really have keyboard shortcuts for this. That would make life a lot easier. Let's do it again. Come over to me. Good. Let me kind of sort of block you in. Okay. No, we're still going over ships that we shouldn't be going over. So we are adding ships to the enemy fleet that shouldn't be there. And I believe maybe the issue is that we're not checking for a sentry value up here either. That would be why. That would literally be why. Okay. If is sentry, right? Yeah. Continue. Okay, we're going to do it again. So that's going to be annoying. I'm going to have to figure out a way to not have to do that check every time because I'm likely to forget. I should be disciplined enough not to forget, but I have to assume that I'm not going to be disciplined enough, and I should figure out a nicer way. That's much better. That this is correct. We have a bunch of unknowns that shouldn't be here, but we're now on the right path. So what other reason would there be for having ships? Let me see. I'm not sure. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to console log the enemy fleet. And let me just go down here and make sure that there isn't anything else weird. It's all just a bunch of unknowns. Okay. So it might behoove me to have a function in the fleet class, in the game data fleet class, that automatically generates the ship's array for me and pulls in the right information and checks for ships that don't actually exist. That would make my life a lot easier because then I could trust that function to ensure that I'm not pulling in unknown ships because they're exceeding the array bounds. But first, let's go have a look at what this enemy fleet thing does. Are you seriously going to run away from me? Is this what... And how is my health? Okay, well, 18. That's fine. Yeah, get closer. Thank you. All right. Here's the enemy fleet. And where are the ships? Here are the ships. So, absolutely, I have base ship ID, cannons, yacht, crew... ID 7, yeah, name ID. I have ships in here that I should not have. Like, yeah, material, name ID, base ship. Yeah, this shouldn't exist. Okay. Why is the ID 0 here? Function is sentry. Is sentry function not correct? No, that looks right. Yeah, as long as it's not that. Yeah, everything looks correct here. Enemy fleet ships push. There's a yeah. Everything's good. So, I guess what I'll do is I'll go look over at ship ID here. And let's see what this says. Huh. We'll have a look here. Okay. And then I zoom in and I'm going to man-to-man it. Okay. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Oh, yo, what's up? Oh, Travis. Travis, welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Travis and Raiders. Good to see you all on the Twitch side. I appreciate it. How's it going, Travis? How goes the game dev? It goes, friend. It goes. If you're not following Travis on YouTube and Twitch, you should be. It's Travis Vroman. Okay? You should be following Travis Vroman. He does a lot of C code. He's building his own game engine called Kohi. He's a good friend of mine. I really appreciate the stuff he does. If you want to go learn how to actually program like a real programmer, you go watch Travis. You don't watch me, all right? You watch Travis for real programming tips. Travis, I know you usually have to raid and run, so you do your thing, man. I appreciate the raid over. So just for the raiders who are coming in, so you know what I'm doing, I'm building a video game on the browser, and hang on, let me make sure I give a shout out on the Twitch side, because that usually helps out with engagement here. There we go, shout out. So yeah, definitely go watch Travis. Because he's doing a bunch of C stuff as well. He's building his own game engine with Vulkan. His game engine is 3D. It's not plain 2D like mine. It's really, really complicated. He's been working on it on a long time, and I've learned a lot from him. What I'm doing over here is also C. I have a single file header of code for my game. Okay, so it's just a single file, header file, and all my game functions, game state stuff is in here. It's all inputs, outputs of numerical values. I compile that puppy to WebAssembly, which is over here. I use Clang to do it, and then I take that WebAssembly file, I embed it into an HTML file. And that single HTML file, I keep everything inside of a single HTML file. And then I load up the game by just opening up the HTML file, and the WebAssembly is embedded into it by converting WebAssembly to an array of U8s or base64 encoding, depending on my preferences of the day. And then I just read it all in line. So I can literally just ship one HTML file for the whole game. I also have vanilla JavaScript, vanilla CSS, vanilla HTML, no Canvas, no WebGL, no WebGPU, no hardware acceleration, all single threaded, running off the CPU, running this game. And so I just have to ship out one individual HTML file, and the entire game runs off of that. And there's no third-party libraries. I don't use anything but vanilla all across the board. The point being that a high school dropout like myself, who used to be homeless, who's self-taught, can do something crazy like this on purpose, which means that the stuff that you're typically being told as, oh, why would you reinvent the wheel by yourself and not pull in a third-party library to solve, whatever, all that stuff is wrong. You're being lied to. Everything is running on div elements. You can see it here. I'm going to pause it. Over here, it's just a CSS grid. That's it. And you can see there's a whole bunch of div elements per square. I can adjust the size of the viewport so I can have more or less div elements based on my size output. And there's no, I don't have mscript in, nothing. There's no glue. I do it all, everything by hand. Literally everything is by hand. I rely on nobody, because the entire premise here is that I can demonstrate to you that the DOM is not slow. Vanilla JavaScript, yeah, it's still bad, but it's not as bad as it's made out to be. Vanilla CSS is not as hard as you think. And all of these things are told to you to make you feel stupid, so that you're dependent upon third parties and other people's influence and whatever their online prowess is or their libraries or whatever. It's basically just lock-in mechanisms. You don't need those things. A vast majority of what we build in the tech industry does not need all that complexity. You can get very, very, very far with very little. And just as a coup de grace here, I have 3D mode on this game. And it's, by the way, thank you, Jeet, for the follow on Twitch. 3D mode is just vanilla CSS. Yeah, this is all vanilla CSS. That's it. Vanilla CSS for 3D mode here. I think I turned off mouse. Oh, here we go. There you go. 3D mode. Look at that. It gets a little laggy because I've done some stuff to the rendering that's not very performant. It's very caveman style. But there you go. 3D mode. CSS 3D. That's it. And again, no third-party libraries. Nothing. It's all hand rolled. Everything is hand rolled. So today I'm working on victory conditions. What I'm trying to get through is when I win a battle here, I need to look at ships that haven't had their hull crushed to nothing. And if such ships exist on the enemy fleet, I should be able to pull them into my own fleet so long as I have captains that have not been assigned to a ship. And I have 2 captains here. And as you may know, I am not very good with design. I am not good with design. So when it comes to actual UI elements, I suck. But with the actual game code, I'm pretty proud of it. What's up, G? I just got inspired by the creativity. This is very good. Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate it. I hope that's kind of the point, is I'm trying to inspire other people to understand that the stuff that the tech industry promotes as, there's only this way to do it. You need to import third-party libraries. You need to npm install, composer install, Python pip install, React, Rust. Take your pick. There's all kinds of stuff that is often promoted as this is the only way to achieve anything in this industry. Why would you reinvent the wheel yourself? Why wouldn't you just pull in stuff that's already been solved? And that's what you're being sold. And it's a lie. It's all a lie, because essentially what you're being told is that you're too stupid to deal with things yourself. You're not. And this stuff isn't as hard as it's being sold to be. It's really not as difficult as it is. What's up, My Tech on YouTube? Good to see you. All right. Okay, so trying to sort through this. So my issue is that this ship ID... Let me go back to my isSentry function here. This is very strange. Okay, let's finish off this battle. And we're going to look at the output. And by the way, thank you, Rui, for dropping the emote there. And thanks for the lurk, Travis. I forgot to say that. I apologize. Let me go through here. Let's look at the output here. We're going to get right up in its business. We're going to do a man-to-man attack. Nope, here. Okay. We're going to end the turn. Okay, so obviously these ships here, we should only have the first ship. We should not have these ships. This should have been caught. This value here should have been caught by the isSentry check. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. I have a typo. I'm so dumb. Don't be like me. I'm a high school dropout. It's literally just that. I wasn't referencing the array correctly. I wasn't indexing off the array. Great to catch the game coding stream. Yeah, My Tech. I have to do this more often. I don't do it often enough. I focus on the daily tech news. Because it tends to attract more attention and spread the message out more. But, yeah. What's up, Quad? Ship it and clip it. Damn it. Even AI does that? Yeah, I know. No AI here. If you go on my YouTube, which you can just type in question or exclamation mark YouTube. If you go on my YouTube, I have a daily tech news stream on my live tab. I have like 66 episodes or something, and I talk all about AI. I go over scientific studies. I go over academic studies, statistics. I go over news articles. I do all kinds of stuff, and I've even proven just through generic code. I've literally proven on stream that AI cannot code. It does not know how to reason. It does not know how to code. I've proven it. I did it in a way that I tend to just kind of keep to myself. But if you catch that stream, you'll know what it is. Oh, perfect. We did it, boys. Yes. The one ship that we needed, that's it. That's the ship. That's the available ship that we can pump a captain onto and import into our fleet. So I talk about AI on those streams, and I go over why AI and vibe coding is not just dangerous for code and security, but it's also dangerous for your brain. And the amount of danger that comes with AI coding or using AI in general is extremely dangerous in a variety of different ways, including societally. So if you're interested in that at all, then go check out the Daily Tech News streams. And I cover all that. I prove it. Like, I literally prove it. How did I learn C? By the way, whoever just followed, I saw a notification somewhere. Whoever followed, I believe on the YouTube side, probably got a follow there. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the follows. It's hard for me to keep track of all the follows on like, I don't have a tab for it on the other platforms, but I do multi-stream to Kick and Rumble, X, LinkedIn, YouTube. I think that's it for now. So I appreciate all the people who watch there and who drop follows and whatnot. How did I learn C? I'm a Java dev and wanted to shift to embedded systems, just starting to learn. Here's what I would do. I would go and pick up like some of the most basic things that you know how to do in Java. Like, do you know how to initialize an array in Java? If you do, then take that knowledge from Java and figure out how to initialize an array in C, and just start there. You already have a good starting ground in that you know something about Java, and so you can take things you know from Java and just literally look up, how do I do this thing that I would do in Java? How would I do it in C? You have a head start because you're not starting from scratch. So do things like creating functions, initializing an array. How do I print to the screen to a console log, or something like that, like out to a terminal? Just do basic stuff that you know how to do in Java, because then your brain can more easily map stuff you already know with stuff you don't know. You're going to pick up C. I bet you in a weekend, if you just focused for a weekend for 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday, you'd pick up a vast majority of C. Like, it's not that hard. That's actually a good idea. I just get stuck in tutorial hell. Yeah, forget about the tutorials. Forget about that. Well, maybe don't forget about it. Just only go to tutorials if you know exactly what you're looking for. Don't go to tutorials to give you information when you don't know what information you're looking for to begin with. So if you know Java, pick something that you know and say to yourself, how would I do this in C? And then you go and target tutorials that are going to help you get there. That's it. You're good to go. You're going to pick it up in a weekend, I promise you. It's really not that hard. Okay, so since I have that particular piece of functionality down with regards to the ships, then this is great. We have now accomplished a very minor but very important piece of functionality, and that we list all the ships that are available for capture. Now what I can do is, yes, I can skip all the fleet ships, enemy fleet ships, that have a durability of 0, not greater than 0, durability of 0. If I've completely cannoned a ship to death, then I should not be able to take it over. It's too destroyed. Maybe I'll change that rule later, but for now, let's just go with that. So that's good. So now we're listing the ships that I can take over. It would be good to then, now that we have the ships to take over, we can now go over the cargo in each one of those ships, and we can list the cargo here. So in here, we want to do a cargo transfer from enemy fleet ships to my fleet. Yeah, my tech. If Spiro can learn it, you can learn it. That's right. That's right, G. You got this, man. My tech is right. If I can learn it, then you can learn it. It's crazy that the game is in HTML. Yeah, that's why I did it this way, because I want people to look at it and go, what the hell is this? Right? That's the point. I want heads to turn and go like, what? You did this in HTML with vanilla code? Yes, I did on purpose, because the entire point is to prove that this industry is completely broken with regards to how you're told you should be doing things. It's completely broken. It's no bueno. So yeah, that's kind of the point here. All right. So if I'm going to look at the cargo, let me grab the enemy fleet here. Ship IDs. Okay. And then I want to go enemy fleet ship, which is going to be a new game data fleet. Well, maybe I should just go straight to ship. I should technically be going through a fleet ship and then a ship, but we're just going to pretend like everything's okay. So what would be the durability right now? 20. And if I was to fire a cannon, 19. And if I go and look at the durability now, okay, we've got the right ship. So far, so good. Now what we want to do is we want to go look at the cargo inside of this ship. How would we do that? So enemy fleet ship dot cargo. So we have cargo goods and cargo goods quantity. You can see that here. Let me just do this. Cargo goods. Well, this is really annoying the way that they render this, but here, we'll just zoom in here. You can see cargo goods 47, 48, and 46. So now what I should be able to do is go var cargo item, new game data. No. Is it a game string? Game strings 46. No, that's not it. So do I not have a way to view the... How am I going to view the cargo? Okay, let me see here. There's got to be a C function where... That's cargo space. Yeah, cargo space is all the C code, by the way. I'm just going to look in the C code, because somewhere in here I'm going to have a function where I can go get the cargo that I'm referencing. Cargo goods, max ship cargo, total cargo goods. Do I have a data structure or is it an item? It's been so long since I've looked at items that I don't remember what I did. I'm pretty sure it's an item. It's an item. Initialize good. Here we go. Okay, now data good. Perfect. Okay. So it should be something like a new game data good. Yeah. Get name. Cannonballs. Sweet. Whoops. Food. And then this one should be water. Perfect. That means, now that we have that, that means I can go like, where is it? Where is it? Enemy fleet ship. Okay, cargo goods. So we're going to iterate over the array of cargo goods. As long as it's not the sentinel value or the sentry value, we can include it. We'll create a new game data cargo, or no, new game data good. Okay, I got this now. So for each ship in the enemy fleet ship, yeah. Let me go right up to here. We're gonna go ship.goods. Then we're gonna go for var. I believe we'll just go C. C is less than ship.cargo. cargo goods dot length. I'm pretty sure it's cargo goods. Yep. And then we're going to go good ID. If good, nope, if is sentry. Good ID, which means that this is nullified, and we're going to skip it. If not, though, then ship.goods push is new game data good. Good ID. That means that now I can go look through the enemy fleet ships, and I can go look through the goods, and I should be able to now determine the goods that are in each ship. If I was smart, if I wasn't too dumb, I'm doing this the very naive, like brute force way. I would create functions that automatically generate these arrays for me that read in from the WebAssembly, which is essentially what like new game data ship and new game data good. These are just JavaScript classes that are mapped on to C structs mapped over WebAssembly memory that are automatically generated for me by my custom C code that does this on compile time, that then extract the data from those structs into JavaScript classes, and then I can pop them into an array, and then it can read that array. I should just have functions in my classes in JavaScript that automatically do all of this for me instead of trying to manipulate it, here by hand. But I'm just trying to prove that the concept works. Once I have the concept down and I know that I can access this data and piece it together, then I can take the bits and pieces and make this a lot easier. So let's see what happens. We're gonna do a battle, and if I went OmniStack, thank you for the follow just now on the Twitch side. I appreciate it. So let's do. Let's do a battle. Okay. I hope that he doesn't move away from me and he makes my life easier. Okay. He kind of didn't move away from me. Oh, you bastard. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of block him in. We're going to do this. We've won. All right. Now I'm going to look in this object. If I've appropriately won this battle, I should be able to look inside of this and then look inside of ships. And then for each ship, I should see a cargo array. Sorry, goods array. And there it is. And indeed, should only be 3 items. And there is. And for each one of these, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Sweet. And if I really wanted to, I could spit out the name of all the goods. However, I don't have to. What now I can do, even though the UI is going to look so dumb. It's going to look so dumb. Guys, it's going to look so stupid. This is going to look ridiculous. Okay, but here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to brute force this again. Ships S, goods, length, plus C, good. This is so dumb. You don't do this. Nobody should ever do this. Except for me. It's okay for me to do it. Actually, Total Free Captains HTML. Okay. And then we'll just do, I don't know, some weird prefix to identify that this is a cargo good. And we'll go good get name. Like that. So we'll do something like that. This is dumb. This is really dumb, folks. Don't do this, okay? You don't want to be doing this. But hopefully I've done this right. Let me just double check. Enemy fleets ship S. Yep. Dot goods. Yes. Goods would be this. We go good. We go get name. All right. Let's go. Let's see how bad I screwed this up. Of course. Of course. Stop running away from me. Hell yeah, look at that. Food, water, cannonballs, perfect. So now we just have to get quantity. We have to know how many of all of the different cargo types does the ship have. So to do that, there is a there's a goods quantity, cargo goods quantity right here. And this is what should tell us the quantity of the goods based on the index offset of the array. So maybe I can just kind of do this ships S cargo goods quantity C. I think. I don't know. We're going to find out. Come on. Oh, I did it wrong. I didn't interpolate it. Because this is what happens when you don't finish high school. Okay? I'm your warning. This is what happens when you don't finish high school. You do stupid things like missing the interpolation wrapper. Did I win? I won. Sweet. 10, 10, and 10. That's it. We did it, boys. Today, we won the internet. The internet is now bowing before us. Mostly just me, though, because I did all the work. You guys did nothing. So there we go. So now we have some brute force, really stupid ways of getting the cargo goods out of all the ships and iterating over the enemy fleet. We know that we can check for how many captains are available to take over an enemy ship. So if there's more than one ship in the enemy fleet, this is going to now show up. We're going to list it all. All of the ships are going to have their cargo listed on here. We're going to know the quantity, all of that. We now have all of the groundwork available for us to take over a ship or multiple ships from an enemy fleet as long as their hull, their durability, is greater than 0. We now also have a way to do cargo transfer. So you can imagine that as you're playing out the battle, you're going to use up cannonballs. You might use up some food and water if the battle drags on long enough, and then you're going to want to pull in some of the cargo, food, water, cannonballs, and maybe something else that the enemy fleet has into your own cargo so that you can restock without having to go back to port, for example. So what should happen is I'm going to go and sail. So you're going to be sailing around the world, right? So I have the auto sailing working, and then maybe this guy is, I don't know, somebody that you're going to pirate, or somebody who attempts to pirate you. You're going to have the battle. They're going to be carrying a specific set of cargo, like water, cannonballs, whatever it is they're carrying. And then you're going to win, and you're going to take over their fleet and everything. Okay, so we have all the groundwork. That's great. What we have to do is confirm that we have functions to move cargo from one ship to another. The way that this is going to work, we're going to need a detraction function, and we're going to need a or a decrement function and an increment function. I think. Okay, let's just look. I might even have functions for this already. Yada yada yada. Yada yada yada. Yada yada. Get ship available cargo space. Get used cargo space. Apply material to ship. Apply base to ship. Get ship cargo. Add good to ship. Here we go. This is, I thought ahead. So this is what we want. All right. I have two kind of ways to go about this. One way I'm thinking one way is to do a function that does a direct transfer from one ship to another. That would probably be relatively smart. Hey, what's up, Mass Faction TV? How's it going? Oh no, trash talking React is required. I work with that 5 days a week. I wish you didn't have to. I wish you did not have to. If since you're a first time chatter, if you go back on, if you do !YouTube and you look at just about any one of my videos, I do particularly, I have some videos that are focused on React. I make the case that React has been one of the most egregious affronts to the tech industry. It is one of the most cancerous things that has embedded the most idiotic paradigms in the entirety of the tech industry. And I like saying that and pulling up the following thing while I think through how I'm going to do this cargo stuff. I just want you to look at this. And I want you to look at around, say, oh, I don't know, right around this period. When was React created? Oh, I hate Next.js. I think it's a dumpster fire. Just saying, just CVEs. Just saying. What's up, Thank you for the follow. I mean, Mass Faction. Listen, I don't just say it though. I do actually. I have a series of enlightened programming videos on my YouTube, and I also have daily tech news streams on my YouTube. I have a playlist for all of this stuff, and I go and present the evidence for why I believe that these systems have been nothing but cancerous to the entire tech industry. So this isn't just an opinion. This isn't just a feeling I have. I just feel like they're trash. I go and present the evidence that these systems necessarily neuter your capability to understand what's going on under the hood. They unnecessarily abstract and obfuscate a bunch of stuff. They inject unnecessary paradigms that we should, in some cases, not in all cases, but in some cases we should never have created to begin with. I go and prove it by doing what I'm doing right now. I'm using nothing. I'm using no third-party libraries to prove the DOM isn't as slow as you're being told. JavaScript isn't as bad as you think, although I would admit that it's still bad. I still don't like JavaScript, but I'm doing all of this on purpose. No WebGL, no Canvas, no WebGPU, etc. All of this stuff is not necessary, and it's been net negative to the industry to have things like React and Next and a bunch of other stuff. And I go and present the arguments and the evidence for it. React is one of the most popular frameworks. Yes, it is one of the most popular frameworks. But that doesn't mean that it's a good one. Popularity does not indicate goodness. Right? Popularity is not an argument. It's a consensus argument, which is a fallacy. It's a fallacious argument. If you're making like actual arguments for or against it, you want to have actual proof, actual evidence, or even just logic. Particularly in an industry where everything that we that we do when the code executes on hardware is nothing but logic. That's it. Our entire world in the programming space operates on logic. And yet we make wholesale decisions based on feelings and anecdotal experience, developer experience, and all that stupid stuff. So, yes, I have a very large dislike for React. And I actively avoid it as much as I can, and I present evidence and arguments against it. I even go over data where React causes more problems than it solves, actual like scientific case studies, issues with like security issues with it, programmers not being able to understand simple concepts like HTML, even though they know how to use React, things like this. And I pick on React because it's the most egregious, but React is not the only one. Okay, so now that I have all that cargo stuff, so there's two ways that I can approach. Yes, you do not need it. I agree. I agree, Mass Faction. I agree. Again, thank you for the follow, man. Thanks for coming in. So there's two ways for me to approach shuffling cargo around from one ship to another. One is to create a function where I drop in two ship IDs from ship ID to ship ID, and then maybe a cargo ID and a quantity ID, right? So that would be one way. So I could pseudocode it. I could go move cargo from to, and it would be from ship ID to ship ID, good ID, quantity. So it would be something like get good ID from ship ID minus equals quantity. And then I would have to do two checks at least. One check would be, does from ship ID have good ID, first of all? And second check, I will just call it two check, does from ship ID good quantity minus equals quantity equal greater than equal to 0, right? So we want to make sure that we're not like doing a buffer overflow when we do this. Then I would go to ship ID, and it would essentially be plus equal quantity. You'd want to do does to ship ID have good ID? If so, increment to existing. If not, add new cargo. And you would also need to check, does good to ship ID cargo quantity maybe greater than or equal to ship ID cargo space. I think this would be it, like total cargo space, whatever it is. And if it exceeds cargo space, yeah, like error out essentially. Like you should never be allowed to do more. Maybe error out and maybe add as much as possible and then error out. That way you could like max. I don't know. That's one way of doing it. The other way to do the cargo transfer is to break this down into two steps. One step would be exactly what I have. Where did it go? I want to move this. Here we go. Right up here. So the first step would be remove good from ship. You would take the enemy ship ID. You'd take the good ID that you want to move from that ship. You'd remove it with quantity. It would be removed. Then you would do a second call, which is add good to ship, which we already have. Now, this is where things get a little bit weird. I can create these two functions, which I probably should do. I can call these two functions one after the other and do it for every piece of cargo that I want to move from one ship to another. If I was to create a third function, move cargo from to, I could, within this third function, call these two functions. So in here, I can reference remove good from ship and add good to ship, and make sure that the checks are in here, which I kind of already have the checks. The reason why this gets a little bit weird is because when you start wrapping functions inside of functions and you do function chains, as much as these functions are simple to begin with, it's just C code with plain old functions. When you start getting into a chain of functions, you begin to lose your place. I tend to try to not reference more than up to like 5 different functions inside of a single function. 5 is really pushing it. Ideally, it should be 1 or 2. If I'm going to reference another function and use it inside of a function I'm working on, I only want 1 or 2 at most. Ideally, most functions can just stand alone. I think it's going to be okay in this case. It's still a little bit weird. I think it's going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. If it gets too complicated, we're going to find out pretty quickly, and then I'll scale it back. And what I'll do is in the JavaScript code, I'll use the 2 separate functions. So if we're going to do that, then I actually need to do remove good from ship. But ultimately, this becomes a lot easier. I don't have to do all these checks. So it would be remove good from ship ID. Good ID, quantity from ship ID. And then it'd be add good to ship. Good ID, quantity to ship ID. Yes. Remove good from ship. Good ID, quantity, ship ID. Okay. And we can start with something like this. We're going to get a reference, a pointer reference to the block of memory that contains the ship data and the good data. And then we're going to do essentially whatever the reverse is of all this stuff. So we're going to go intended. Well, intended goods quantity is really what the name should be, but it's going to be minus quantity. And if intended goods less than or equal to 0, console log cannot remove goods from ship, removing too many. Do I want to do this, or do I just want to do the maximum number? I gotta think. Maybe I just max it out. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. When I start getting fancy with the checks, what it does is it gives me a little bit too much freedom to begin with, where I feel free to put in stupid values in these functions and assume that the function is going to handle overflows and weird things for me and auto set min-max values. I actually don't want to do that, at least to start with. Those are things that I can add as I go along. I'd rather be super restrictive and do an early return case here. And the reason why I want to do that is so that I know this is going to freak out at me and just outright not work if I provided a stupid value. And if I provided a stupid value and I see this as a return, then I'm going to be able to look into this and go like, why did I receive this error? What kind of stupidity did I implement here that got me to this point? Whereas if I min-max it by default, then everything's going to essentially run. Like it gives me the flexibility to put in stupid values and still have everything work. But if I'm not paying attention to the numerical values that get updated or not, I'm not going to know when something goes wrong. So I prefer this for now, and I'll add in min-max checks, min-max automatic min-maxing later on. So, okay. So given this, we want to check if the good is already in the ship. If it is, then we're going to subtract it. If it's not already in, then we have a problem. And that, how are you going to remove something that's not already in there? So we actually want to do already in. Okay, I think I got it. So we're going to copy this and we're going to do a check. Already in. We'll leave this in here. If not already in, tried to remove cargo from ship where this cargo not found, or something like this. We'll do that. And then this is going to end up being minus equals, but we need to put in checks to make sure that we're not below our total quantity. So I'll do that in a second. How many lines is that file? I don't know if I want to tell you, mass fact. Okay, mass. I don't know if I want to tell you. All right, this is just how it is. I don't want to tell you. Not for any other reason than I just don't feel like it. All right. Being a jerk, asking how many lines it is. Friggin' jerk over here. Jerk. 7,697. And a bunch of this stuff is... I would say there's probably a quarter of this code, up to a quarter at most, that probably has to be removed or updated. That's what I would say. So there's room to remove a bunch of stuff out of this code. Okay, this is fine because we're doing the check for that. This, however, this is not. We cannot assume that we're not going to run into a buffer overflow when we subtract the quantity here. And especially if we're doing something like this. I want to remove this. I don't want to set this to 0 if it's not found. This is a removal. This doesn't make sense. What I really want to do is, as long as it's greater than 0, it's got to be greater than 0. Actually should be greater than quantity. Okay. So if, yeah, greater than or equal to quantity. Here we go. This is it. This is also a little bit stupid, but console log E. Cargo found. Whoops. Cargo found in ship, but subtracting more quantity than ship currently has. We're going to do an early return. This means that I think that's it. I think we're good. And this is the thing. This feels very, I don't know. I don't like the fact that there's one function wrapping two other functions. This feels dirty. But for the sake of JavaScript, I'm going to let this go for now. And let's make sure it compiles. There's 2 errors. Use of undeclared identifier, of course, because there's an order of operations. You want to move this function down to after the remove and add functions are defined so that C code knows. Non-void return 2399. Oh, void. Well, Well, what do I want to return here? Remove. I mean, I suppose what I could do is if remove, okay, is not equal to sentry, then that, and then return that, and then return sentry. That should do it. That okay, that's good. What that'll do is it'll allow me to check the return value of this function, and if the return value is the sentry value, then I know something went wrong. That's actually good. And then plus the console logs, I can determine that something went wrong. Okay, good. All right. So that's good. I can then do, I can actually test this. $47 and 10. Enemy fleet ship. Let's go grab the enemy fleet ship. That's 7. I can go something like a player fleet ship. I don't actually need to play the oops. I don't need to play the battle to do this. So I want to move. Okay, what would 47 be? Good. Game data, good. Yeah. All right, so I want to move food. I know that the player fleet ship cargo doesn't have anything. Okay, so if I move 10 cargo, let me have a look at enemy fleet ship. Yeah, if I move 10 of 47, which is food. Yeah, 10. Then I should be able to do this. WASM exports move cargo from 2. I want to move it from 7 to 6. 47 for food. Quantity 3. Okay. Holy crap, it worked. So now the enemy fleet ship has 7 food instead of 10. And there it is on my player fleet ship, 3. We now have a way to move cargo from one ship to another. All our C code, I think, is capable of handling this now. We can move any cargo we want from one ship to another, so now I just have to do the UI. Varun on YouTube, use a string function? What do you mean, bro? What are you talking about a string function? What are you talking about? I don't use string functions over here. No, but really, I'm not sure what you mean. Use a string function? I don't know what you're talking about. All I'm doing here is I'm just looking at the raw values. I do have some string functions, so I can map the strings out. But I don't really need them. The numerical values allow me to do it. So I can literally go like game strings. Let's say like, no, wait. Good food. Yeah. I have mappings for the string functions. So it's fine. I have it. I'm good. And I can do like strings dot index of good food, I believe. Where is it? Yeah, something like this. Where the heck is that? Yeah, here we go. Like that. So, yeah. So I do have a way. I use numbers. The reason why I don't use strings, Verum, or I avoid strings. If I use strings, then I have to convert the strings. Look what I do for console log. It's the only place that I use strings. I don't even have them scripted or anything like that. I have no glue code between the WebAssembly/C code to JavaScript. And JS console log, I think. Yes. So here, where's my... You can see here that in order to get a string out of WebAssembly and to put it back in, you have to convert raw memory from U8 to UTF-8, which means you have to decode it. Then you have to encode it back to get it back into WebAssembly. And you can't just put it back into WebAssembly. You have to go into your C code and you have to set up a block of memory that is ready to take whatever length of string you want to put into it. So you sort of have to set up a whole series of memory blocks that are available to take in strings, which are converted to U8s and dumped in. And then you can play around with strings like with cars inside of your C code. That is a ton of stupid amount of work that I don't need. All I care about is the numerical values. And then what I do is I go to my strings in here and I map the numerical values out of my C/WebAssembly to the strings I want. This also allows me to create localized strings by just having a JSON array or just like a JavaScript array. So I can map all of my numerical values out of the enumerations here in C to a string value. And so then the dialogue and all of that, I get to control and do it in different languages and whatever. And I don't have to recompile the code at all. I don't have to recompile C ever. Once the game is done, all the numerical values associated to all the dialogues and texts are all just numerical values. Then I just go in here and I go like strings English, strings Greek, strings Mandarin, whatever it is. Hey, Sir, is it an Indian game? No, it's not. It's English. It's not Indian. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm going to essentially call it there. I got a lot accomplished. Yeah, I have everything. All I have to do now is just do some of the UI stuff here. I have to copy a lot of the UI elements that I have here and kind of make them a little bit nicer and do like cargo transfers and stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah. Sarah, I did answer you. And just so you know, Sarah, if you go onto someone's chat and you're a jerk about you being answered or not, you're probably going to get timed out or banned for being a jerk. So don't be that guy. Don't be the guy who says, bro, answer me, as if you have some right to me answering your message. I did answer you. All right. I think that's going to be it. Let me just make sure I've got everything set up for ending the stream. I do. Okay, that's it, folks. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to be back tomorrow for a daily tech news stream. I'm going to be covering some news stuff tomorrow. So for anybody who normally comes on to watch that, you can come watch tomorrow, or you can watch on the VODs. If you go on my YouTube and you go to the live tab, you can see all the previous streams that I've done, all the daily tech news, enlightened programming, video game streams like this one. You can see them all. You can see the progress I've made over the last year and some odd months. It's taken forever. So I'll be back around tomorrow. I might do another video game stream tomorrow too. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I want to work on this a bit more. We're close. We're close to getting the victory conditions done. It's mostly just UI stuff now. The UI is going to be ugly because I'm not a designer, and I'm not good with UI, but we're going to make it functional. And then once we have it functional, then it means that the victory stuff is done. And once we have victory stuff done, then we're going to start looking at how to turn this into multiplayer. Because we've done multiplayer twice, we're about to do it a third time. And I have some crazy ideas for multiplayer. It's going to require a little bit of cleanup. We're going to have to do a little bit of auditing on some of the code and what's going to have to go into the WebAssembly in particular and how we're going to run it. There's all kinds of stuff to consider. So we're super close to multiplayer. Maybe two-ish more streams, and then that'll be it. All right, that's it. I appreciate everyone being here. That was fun. I'm glad I got to do this. Hopefully we get to have some fun with this later on this week with some multiplayer, and people can participate in the game as we had before. I am going to say goodnight or good day wherever you are. Appreciate all the views. Appreciate everybody popping in. I'll see you tomorrow for the daily tech news and maybe another video game stream like this. And stay safe out there, will you? Peace.